So gorgeous. How loaded down these plants. All this fluting. Potatoes are fun. The blue cream berries. Good morning. Welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. I have a little bit of a garden video for you today. Surprisingly, I have some very long roots. Can you even see them? On the sweet potatoes here. I knew that they rooted quickly, but I didn't expect them to root that fast during the heat that we had. This morning is very nice. I think the thermometer said 67 degrees. We are gonna have a little bit of a warm afternoon, so I'm up a little bit early, which is not my preference, but I want to go ahead and get some things harvested and a little bit tidied up out on the lane before it gets too hot. Good morning, boys. Y'all need water before I get started? Yes, you do. The Malabar spinach more than reached the top. So gorgeous. I actually think this cucamelon might survive, which is fun. I recently harvested the beets. That's coming up on the weekly vlog. But check out these volunteer lima beans. Oh my gosh, there's so many. And they said, that's all fine and dandy, ma'am, but that is not what we're waiting for. I know if I don't give them grain, I'm going to regret it, and they're going to be very disruptive, so let's do that. Dang, are you guys hungry too? Good morning. Hello. Their chorus is far less annoying. Okay, but you have food. You just want treats. I might have some for you. Just not right now. Hey, sir. Yes? And of course, you can't shake a feed scoop without feeding the pig. I promise we will get to the garden. A lot of times when I just throw the feed out on the ground, I get questions of why don't you feed them in a bowl. That's because they don't keep it in the bowl. I know that I could probably make some kind of trough that doesn't move or whatever. I've seen other homesteads do stuff like that, like make a feeding platform and things, and they don't always last, and the pigs step in them and make them muddy anyway, so I don't know, we do what we can. Good morning. Where's Farrell? There he is, pulling in the rear. Come on. Good morning. Good morning, Warden. Kato. By the way, I think I forgot to mention it. There's a volunteer pumpkin out in the buck area. There were some before we got that late frost, and this is the one thing that I had forgotten to cover. And so the pumpkins that were here died, but there's actually at least 3 out here. I don't really know what it is, but the goats seem to not eat the pumpkin leaves. Let's see, here's one. It's a small one. Oh, from far away I thought this was a pumpkin, but it's not. But this one definitely is, and it has a flower on it. So very exciting. These pumpkins, they don't care if you plant them in a lawn. They will grow. They put their leaves up above the grass and just trail right along. we have gotten quite a lot of pumpkins out of volunteers just like this one. So it won't be long before I actually close these boys out of this area, because they don't go after the leaves of the pumpkins, but they will go after the pumpkins themselves, which honestly is the reason that this is here in the first place. Excess pumpkins and pumpkin seeds do go out to our animals, and that's how we get volunteers. All right. Isn't he gorgeous? Ruckus, you're beautiful. He's the one that has like a whole herd of kids due in October out of 2 dams. Oh my goodness, there's so many in those girls. Back to what we're supposed to be doing this morning. So here's the lane. There's quite a bit happening down here. I have been harvesting the potatoes. Actually, this guy is quite overrun with grass, and that could probably be harvested too. We'll see how much we get harvested today before I get too tired or if the mosquitoes come out. It isn't quite time to harvest peppers, but look how loaded down these plants are. These are ajvarskis. And the last time I grew ajvarskis, I grew them in the greenhouse, and I actually trained them to grow vertically. You can do that with peppers, at least the indeterminate type of peppers. You can prune them in such a way that it does make them grow vertically, and it's really neat to see the peppers hanging in such a way. But I found that I got far fewer peppers that way, and so we prefer growing them like the traditional bush style way. But our first stop here is the spaghetti squash. These plants actually look like they kind of got a second wind. They had sort of died back and they weren't putting on too many leaves, but look, we do actually have a second flush of activity happening out here. I did plant some new spaghetti squash plants, but the beetles are not going to allow them to survive, I don't think. I'm still gonna leave those in there. Oh, did you see that cucumber beetle fly right off there? They're the big pest of the year. And I actually saw, it was an Instagram reel where this organic gardener was going around her squash plants in the morning with a literal blowtorch, and she was torching them lightly. And she said, you want to do it when there's a heavy dew on, which we do have every morning. I don't even know if you're going to be able to tell, but we do have quite the dew every morning. And she said that the heat will make the cucumber beetles like fly away, and they sort of flush straight towards the torch and die. And I do have a torch. Do I have the confidence to do that? I don't know, but maybe after I make this harvest, I mean, what can I lose? I've gotten my harvest out of these plants, and so I can at least gain a little bit of a learning experience of how that all works. So we'll see. For now, we are brushing off squash bug eggs and doing what we can. You can see there's quite a difference in size of some of these fruits. This plant, when it first started to get stressed with all the insect pressure and things, it just started to mature the fruit that it had set, no matter how big it was. And so we've got some little personal sized spaghetti squash as well as some much bigger ones. So I'm going to pull off all the fruit today. Cute one. Ruckus! Sir, we were aiming for peace and tranquility this morning. Could you get with the program? Can you keep him in line? I will pay in beans if you can keep Ruckus in line, okay? Sir. This is not a sponsored post. I love this little harvest basket. A couple of our channel members had shared a photo with me of their harvest in one of these baskets, and I said, what is that? I totally need it because the garden hod that I have doesn't fit big things like big cabbages and big squash like this. This is so nice. You can either push it like a lawnmower, or obviously you can pull it. And then if you need to, the top folds down and is a nice little seat. They graciously shared the link with me. This is just from Amazon. Do you guys have middle name ideas for Ruckus? There's a couple goats. I'm so surprised we haven't developed a government name for them because they need it. squirrel is guiding the group away. What an angel, he did just what I asked. And keeping Ruckus in line. So good, you'll be able to hear what I'm saying right now. So when it comes to harvesting squash off the vine, especially squash that you want to keep long term, this is a winter squash. Even though we are harvesting it in the middle of summer, the idea behind calling it a winter squash is this is something you can consume in winter because it's going to be able to be stored that long. But that's only going to work well if you're mindful about the way that you're harvesting. Not that a squash with a short stem can't last a long time, but this is essentially going to be an open wound into the plant once we take it off. And the shorter that this like umbilical cord is, the easier it's going to be for bacteria and molds and things to actually get into the fruit and rot it from the inside out. So we want to actually harvest it as close to the main stem as possible. Sometimes leaves come off with it, and that's okay. I do at this point want to keep the main stem going because it looks like it is trying to put on some more fruit, but see? Nice long stem. This is still green, and what I'm actually going to do is set these out in the greenhouse and allow them to cure in the sun a little bit longer. These are nice and yellow. I don't get any indents when I poke this with my fingernail, which tells me that this was ready to harvest, but I do want this to turn brown. That is going to be the best for storage, and a little bit of time in the sun will help facilitate that. And there's our harvest. Check this out, I didn't realize this happened. There are 2 spaghetti squash right here. So obviously this is a different type of squash. These are our tromboncinos, but I didn't realize that spaghetti squash vine actually made its way over here. So yeah, it does have some more fruit that it's trying to develop. I noticed this little guy too. See? So all is not lost. Some of these tromboncino genuinely could come out too. I don't think I am gonna harvest them today. Yeah, they're getting orange, but I can still see a little bit of indent from my fingernail. And I am not hard pressed for this bed space, so these guys can sit out here a little longer. Look at this cutie. Oh, that actually looks ready. Maybe. Still a little green on the underside. I'll leave it. I'm actually really excited to harvest and taste this squash. It's the Autumn Frost hybrid, and they're the cutest looking little things. They actually remind me a lot of the Dutch fork pie pumpkin in their shape and in their color. They're just a lot smaller. See how cute? These guys are putting on new fruits too. Oh, it's so cute. All right, down here, geez, the beans have definitely seen better days. Believe it or not, I have been harvesting quite a lot. The beans look this way because of bean mosaic virus, which is spread by cucumber beetles. So I do want to rip these out and replant. I don't know, the beetles, they're attacking my little seedlings, so that also can come in on seed. The plants looked really good up to a certain point when the cucumber beetles really started to take over, so I think it's the beetles' fault and not the seed. They're still trying though. I don't know if we'll grab beans today, but we'll go to the tomatoes. Those I know I've got some to harvest. Got some disease here too. Oh, look at that beauty. This is a Belgian giant. How pretty is she? Oh, come on. There we go. Look at these. Oh, gorgeous. Isn't that so beautiful? all this fluting, these like ripples in the fruit is called fluting. Beautiful. Run out of space. This plant right here was a little bit of an accident. All the tomatoes that you see here, I planted the seeds myself, and I planted seeds that I had saved myself. And that works out really well a lot of the time, but cross-pollination can happen, and these little tiny tomatoes are evidence of that. I did not plant any tomatoes that look like this. I only planted Dr. Witchies, which are big slicers, and Belgian Giants. This little tomato is good though. All right, when it comes to harvesting the potatoes out of the grow bags, what I've been doing is taking an empty grow bag and essentially just transferring all the soil into the second grow bag so I can go through all the soil and make sure that I'm getting all the potatoes. Now there's a lot of grass in these grow bags. I won't be transferring the grass with the potatoes, but some of the potatoes might come up with the grass. See, there's a little one here. I think these are purple potatoes. Yeah, Adirondack blue. These grow bags are the bags that I plan to put my sweet potato slips in, so this is good timing. All right, now that most of the grass is out, we can start actually digging up potatoes. Let's see. Potatoes are fun. It's like a treasure hunt. I can feel that we're starting to heat up, so hopefully the camera can last through the rest of the harvest. I want to harvest this bag too. But so far, this is what I've gotten. This is about what I've been getting out of each grow bag when I harvest. It's probably about 2.5 or 3 pounds, which honestly is the minimum amount of poundage that I had hoped for out of the grow bags. Now, honestly, you might be able to tell I don't have any irrigation set up on these grow bags, and it rained a lot, but this soil is quite dry, and I'm wondering if they didn't get as much water as maybe they should have. But we have a decent harvest regardless. These are 15-gallon grow bags. I get them from Epic Gardening, and I planted 3 seed potatoes in each. So it's about 1 pound per seed potato, which is more than I started with. But I think we're pretty much done in this grow bag, and that's the harvest. Over here, these are Huckleberry Gold. They look pretty purple. Maybe these ones are the ones that are purple on the outside and like a creamy yellow on the inside. Ooh, it's a big one. This soil is a little bit more sandy, and so I'm guessing that this grow bag got some of the mushroom compost that I was using last year. That's good stuff. And this soil feels like it's retained some more moisture too. But did that result in more potatoes? Right now it doesn't look like it. that's a rock. How did that happen? There we go. That's the potato harvest for today. I will weigh this and I'll put the weight on the screen. Not a ton, but definitely more than I started with. And there we have it. Not a bad haul. I almost forgot about the little cherry tomatoes that volunteered here in the greenhouse. The blue cream berries. So we made sure we grabbed some of those. It's definitely heating up, so I need to get inside. But that was not a bad haul for today. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys again soon.